let's stick on Darnold for a second here. At least Burrow does have. I mean, you got Tyler Boyd, you got AJ Green, obviously, Joe Mixon. Yep. So at least he does have some weaponry, although maybe not the protection up front. And Sam Darnold's got Frank Gore. He's turned around to Frank Gore and handing to Frank Gore in 2020 to start a game against the San Francisco 49ers. And Frank may be the most decorated, dependable offensive weapon he's got. And this is year 3. So you say he can transcend the Jets. He's going to have to. I mean, right? I mean, this is it. Where do you stand on Sam Darnold for the Jets going to have to make a decision about picking up a 5th year on him or not?
Obviously, Frank was not the primary.
No.
And this is before Joe Douglas, the GM. They made the decision to pay this amount of money to Le'Veon Bell, and I guess understandably, maybe whatever you think of it. And he was, from a talent standpoint, unquestionably was deserving of a lot of money. But I always have a hard time when organizations spend that kind of money on that position because of exactly what has happened here and a lot of other places in the league. So now, you look in the backfield, you got Frank Gore, you got a rookie in LaMichael Pirine, who's he's the same thing as Frank Gore. He's a kind of a pounder, but he's just not nearly as talented and obviously not nearly as decorated. So now it turns to Sam, and you look at. I just look at they've got so many issues in terms of weapons around Sam moving forward. And they're trying so hard, obviously. They brought in Mekhi Becton at left tackle, the first pick in this past draft. You got Alex Lewis they brought in. They really spent a lot of this offseason trying to upgrade their offensive line to protect Sam. But at tight end, you don't see a huge difference maker, in my opinion. And at wide receiver, you got a bunch of, guys that are solid, but no one is scaring you defensively. So that allows you defensively to come up and throw games at Sam to take away the run and really press and get physical. And I think that's the issue that the Jets have right now. But I would go to war with Sam Darnold. I would put him in the top 6 or 7 quarterbacks in the league in terms of guys that I believe in moving forward for the next few years. I really believe that he's a special talent. They just need some time to get the guys around him.
Well, I mean, and if time unfolds in the manner in which we saw in week 1, and I know this is a total knee-jerk reaction, but when you look at the roster, you see what you see. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to front-load you way in advance the $1 million question. If the Jets have a chance at Trevor Lawrence, do you turn Sam Darnold into the Josh Rosen of this equation? You don't. You don't really do that.
No, I don't. And that would be one of the I don't know, few situations in terms of coming up in this draft. I mean, I would sit there one and get a monster deal. I mean, that's what you do if you're Joe and you're making that decision. It's like. And listen, they're not going to be picking number 1. I really don't believe that's the case. But in your hypothetical, if they're picking at number 1, I think you sit there and you get one of the biggest deals that has ever been brokered for a number 1 overall pick in the history of the NFL draft. I would argue probably the biggest for Trevor Lawrence. So you're going to wind up with so many ones. You're going to wind up with at least 2 1s, multiple 2s, and probably 2 or 3 other picks. And you can name your price because there are going to be 3 or 4 organizations that are bidding against each other to go up and get what I think is a generational talent in Trevor Lawrence coming out of Clemson. And for me, and now you add in all the other first-round picks. I think they have an additional 1 and a 2, I believe, in the next 2 years. So the Jets would be in great shape. But I do not foresee that being the situation.
Well, I'm asking it because there's already Jet fans that are thinking about it because just watching that week 1, it just looks so desolate. And I know that there's still a lot of football left to be played. But
I love the Jets fans.
Seriously,
it's one game. I mean, I guess they've earned it over time, but it's one game. Okay. It's one game. It's okay.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.